but today we're going to cover something pretty cool that we haven't covered in a pretty long time as well, which is why are we getting ghosted by buyers and how not to get ghosted. Okay, by buyers. So sometimes we can feel like we have this amazing first phone call, or maybe even it was just a good first phone call, and then it takes them 60 days, 90 days to even just pick up the phone again, which is obviously just puts a huge delay in your sales process, having all of these people in your pipeline where like you're not even really sure what's going on, because they just haven't answered the phone since that first convo, or you went and gave a buyer discovery. And then same thing, you came back afterwards and then they didn't answer the phone for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, sometimes 6 months, sometimes a year. Okay. So we want to get down to the pain point on why does a buyer ghost us? Why would they stop answering the phone? And then how are we going to keep that from happening? Okay. Because if they're ghosting us, okay, it's not on the client. Okay. It's on our process. Okay. I mean, somewhere in there, they did not get explained the process correct or the framework of the process correctly. So they're kind of just doing their own thing. Okay. So raise of hands, who has had a really good talk with a buyer and then is like, why aren't they answering the phone? Okay. Happens all the time. Okay. So once again, if a lead is ghosting you, okay, they either didn't see your value, they didn't feel a connection, okay, or they did not have clarity on what the next steps were. Okay, so take out a pen and paper, you guys. We want to take some notes on this one. And those are going to be the first things that you write down. Okay, or is it if they ghosted you? Okay, it was either because they did not see your value, they did not feel a connection, or they did not have clarity over the next steps. Whose responsibility are all three of those things? Us. Okay, all three of those are our responsibility, not theirs. Okay, so once again, they either didn't see your value, didn't feel a connection, or they did not have clarity, okay, over what the next steps were, which all of those are our responsibility. Okay, so I think we've all had the feeling after we have a really good talk with the buyer, okay, we're going on and on, or a seller, okay, and then we send a text message, they don't answer, we're like, oh, it's okay, they're really close. So we send another text message a week later and they didn't answer, and a third text message, they didn't answer. They stop opening up your property alerts, and we start to slowly watch them kind of disappear. Okay, that's what we want to avoid from happening today. Okay, that's what we're going to focus on fixing. So we're going to break this into 3 chunks. Okay, 3 different sections. I'll turn the heater off. Okay, in the first section of this, okay, is we, okay, did not make a strong enough relationship. Okay, so that's the first number 1, is on that first phone call that we were on. Okay, this is prior to us getting inside the buyer discovery. Okay, we did not make a strong enough relationship. Okay, so most likely, typically when this happens, it's because they were in control of the conversation. Okay, we probably acted more like an Uber driver, than we did a real estate advisor. We were kind of just talking about whatever they wanted to talk about and gave them whatever they asked us to give. And great, I got them on a property alert, but we know we got to the end of that call and we're like, shoot. Like all I kind of did was just, answer a few questions for them, put them on a property alert and tell them we'd talk in 6 months. And that's the average sales process that people are using on a buyer, you guys, whether it's an open house lead, an internet lead, an SOI, referral. Okay, it's just not a good start to a sales process. Okay, so that first reason, that big reason, okay, is typically because we did not act like the real estate advisor that we know we are. Okay, and we just answered all their questions on the call and then hopped off the call. Okay, we already know this from listening to Justin. Whoever's asking the questions is the one in control. So if they asked questions the entire call, and at the very end, you asked like 1 or 2 questions and got off the phone, who was in control of that phone call and that sales process? They were. Okay, so just go back and think about a few of your calls. I'm sure there was at least one or two where that person was in control of the call the whole time, and we really kind of just catered to them, for a 10-minute phone call. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So we can fix this, okay, very easily with two things. One, it's going to be with stronger questions. Okay, and two, it's going to be with more assumptive language. Those are your two key points, okay, to make a really strong relationship with someone on the phone. And we're talking about the proper relationship. We can go on there and make friends with anybody. That's pretty easy to do. But to go on and have the proper relationship where, yes, you trust me, we have clarity, like you feel comfortable with me, sure, we feel like friends, but you're also taking my professional advice. Okay, so it's setting up the proper relationship, not just a good relationship. Okay, so some of these stronger questions, okay, would be like our ones from the exactly what to say, okay, role plays that we've been doing in the morning. Okay, because what happens when we ask someone a stronger question, it brings a stronger response, which means them answering for longer. Where when I just say, hey, Ina, how many bedrooms do you want? And they go 3. It's just over. I'm on to the next. Great. How many square feet? Probably around 1,200. Great. Do you need a garage? Yes. Okay. It leaves all these spots where they just come back and they're like, so, I don't know what does the HOA include? And it puts them in this position where they can ask a lot of questions back because we're in this very short back and forth where if I give out 3 or 4 really strong questions, hey, Dan, just out of pure curiosity, I mean, what are the top 3 traits you're looking for in an agent that you partner with on buying your new home? That's a big response that they're about to have to give, no? They're probably going to be responding for a minute or two, on something like that. So when you inherit these longer responses, okay, by asking these stronger questions, what it's actually doing is leaving you in control because they're spending the whole call answering instead of questioning now. You guys get that? Okay. So you guys, one of the biggest takeaways, okay, from this whole thing is start to mix in your stronger questions, your higher quality questions while you're on the phone with these people. Okay. And don't be afraid to say that, hey, Jesse, I'd love to understand more about this relationship with the agent you're working with. Can you just break down exactly what's going on there, what your experience is working with that agent? Like just sit down and ask the questions that you need answers to. Okay, we can fill out a property alert very easily. We already know that's a commodity. Okay, they can get on 5 property alerts, no problem, for free. They don't need us for that. They're looking at our property alert for us because they need to be sold on you. Otherwise, that property alert's just a property alert. Okay, so really stronger questions, assumptive language. Okay, so this comes back to at the end of your call, we're not saying, do you want me to connect you with my lender? Do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do that? Would you like me to? Okay, a lot of those it's the opposite of assumptive where I'm going, hey, Dan, what I'm going to do is, hey, Ina, what the next steps look like are, hey, Jesse, where we need to go from here. Okay, but it's having that assumptive language at the end where I'm not getting to the end of a 10-minute call or a 20-minute buyer discovery and going, hey, Sarah, what are the next best steps that you think we should take? Okay, it takes away all my power. And that is not their job to decide on what the next steps are. That's our job, no? Okay, so it's really important that when you get to the end of these calls, you get to the end of your buyer discovery, your seller discovery, whoever it is you're talking with, okay, you need to have this very assumptive language instead of, hey, would it be okay if I blank? It's, hey, Jesse, what I'm going to do is give you access to a program called Fellow. What it does is show you exactly what your home is worth, exactly what's going on in the hyperlocal community, and gives you all the best information a homeowner should know about their home. Where would you like me to send that? It's not, would you like me to put you on Fellow? Do you guys hear that difference? Okay, so it's the same thing with the buyer. Hey, Jesse, what the next steps from here are, okay, is we're going to hop on a 15-minute buyer discovery. Hopefully you have some availability this weekend. What we're going to cover during that time, okay, is the 7 steps to winning offer, the exact process we use, okay, to help our buyers win homes in the current market, and a step-by-step plan to go over your financing goals. Okay, but this is what the next steps are. This is what it looks like. Okay, instead of saying, would you like me to? Okay, are you guys hearing that difference? Okay, so it's just that makes a really big difference, you guys, when you get to the end of this call and they're expecting you as their professional. Think about it. When you're at the dentist, they don't say, hey, Sarah, would you like to come for your next visit? They say, hey, Sarah, on your way out, Karen's going to book your next visit. And we walk right up to the counter and we book our next visit without hesitation because they set the standard that that's what we are going to do as our next step. Think about it, just like the open house, we're saying, hey, can you come to meet me by the front counter? How many people do you think leave the dentist without stopping by the lady to book their next appointment? The only reason we don't go out that door and we wait is because they tell us to wait and to speak with Judy about booking our next appointment. So what's happening is we're not telling our clients what that next step is. We're just finishing and saying, oh, they get it. They'll see the sign. The answer is no, they don't see the signs. Okay, it's up to you to verbalize and point and tell them where are the next steps. Okay, from here. Okay, number 2. Okay, so the first one was we didn't make it a strong enough relationship. And we just went over exactly how to fix that. Number 2, okay, is we did not make it emotional. Okay, typically this means we got stuck in the bed bath talk instead of getting into real discovery. Okay, so this isn't even necessarily higher level questions or harder questions. This is just discovering who they are as a human, why they're actually buying in a house, instead of just what they're looking for in a house. Okay, easy fix, okay, to this one has 4 letters in it, and it's called Ford. Super simple. Okay, now imagine if you took your Ford and you asked 1 to 2 follow-up questions on each answer of Ford they gave you. Okay, you may have a better relationship with that person now than they have with like their cousin. Okay, and no joke. If I go, hey, Sarah, so is it just you moving in or you and your family? There's 1 question deep. Go, it's my wife and kids. Okay, I'll take that one more level deep. Oh, what's your wife's name and your kids' names? Okay, Julie, Simon, and Sarah. Okay, I'm like, wow, how old are Simon and Sarah? Like, it's so easy to take that 3 or 4 levels deep. Okay, got it. Okay, so let me ask you, do you also work in Vista? No, I work in LA. What do you do for work in LA? Wow, what got you into that field of work? How long have you been doing that field of work? Do you enjoy that field of work? 4 levels deep. Okay, recreation. What do you like to do on weekends? Okay, once again, you can take that 4 levels deep, no problem. All it means to take it a next level deep is that you ask them the question, the Ford, and then all you did was ask a few follow-up questions because that shows you're actually interested. Okay, so if you make it through all letters of Ford and you get, let's just say 2 follow-up questions, okay, on each one of those, you 1000%, okay, have made that call emotional. But the really important part is, remember, don't just go through your Ford and check off your Ford. You have to take it those extra levels deep. Okay, do you guys see how those 2 or 3 follow-up questions make it into a whole different type of question? So instead of just asking Sarah, hey, do you have family? Okay, it's how many are there? What are their names? How old are they? You know, do they live with you? Are they coming? You know, it's like all these little questions now can be asked just because that 1 Ford question. Okay, same with their job. What, where, how long, how much do you enjoy? What, where, how long, how much do you enjoy? Okay, so all these different questions, all these different Ford questions, we can take them way deeper than we're currently taking them. Okay, and that's what's keeping it from being an emotional call. We ask one question about Ford. We say, hey, Sarah, is it just you or is it you and your kids? And they go, no, it's us and our kids. They go, okay, great. So how many bedrooms do you need? Oh, we need 4 bedrooms. Awesome. How much square footage? And we're right back into criteria talk. And we took that family question nowhere. Okay, we just threw it away. So it's taking advantage of these little pockets, you guys, where you can ask 3 or 4 follow-up questions, okay, to take it even deeper. And that's what makes it like a real emotional call. Okay, so make that just a goal. How can I get each Ford question answered? And then also ask 2 to 3 follow-up questions on that. No shot they answer all those. They're not booking an appointment with you at the end. And that sounds like a long time, but I'd much rather be on a 15-minute call and get an appointment than a 6-minute call for someone who never answers the phone again. Okay. Okay, moving on to number 3. Okay, so number 2, we just talked about making it emotional. Okay, that's where our Ford questions come into play. Taking them 2 or 3 levels deep instead of just asking one Ford question: family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Number 3, okay, is you do not create a clear next step. And this is one that I hear a lot. Did not create a clear next step. You guys, it's up to us. We just talked about this in the beginning, to create that next step for them to take. Just like when we're leaving the dentist and they say, stop by Julie's desk on your way out. And we stop every single time. Okay, it's because they have created a very clear next step. They don't say, hey, Sarah, make sure you talk to one of the associates on your way out to book your next appointment, because that'd be a confusing next step. And I'm just like walking around the front office looking for somebody. They say, go speak to this person about booking your appointment on the way out. Okay, we have a very clear next step, which is why we take it every single time. Okay, so every single time you get off a call, not just a first-time call, not just a buyer discovery, but every single conversation should end with clear next steps. Okay, so what does that look like? Maybe it's Sarah calling one of her not yets, who was on a 6-month road, okay, to buy a home. And it's been 2 months. Okay, so she's calling her just to see how everything's going. So say, hey, Sarah, I'm calling to re-pick up the conversation about your home purchase. Last we spoke, you're about 6 months out. It's been 2 months. So I want to make sure we're still on track for that. Fantastic. Okay, well, the next step now at this point in the process, okay, is I'm going to connect you with our in-house lending team, Scott. Okay, because what he's going to do now over the next 4 months is make sure that you're on the perfect track, okay, to be qualified for your home purchase when we get there. So where should I connect you guys? What works best for you? 3-way text or an email? It's just creating the next step for you guys. It's not a sales pitch. We don't need a pitch deck. We don't need this like amazing language around it. All we're doing is we're not calling and creating what the next step is. We're calling all of our people over and over and saying, do you want to meet with me for 15 minutes? Let them know what the next step is. The meeting with you for 15 minutes is to execute on the step. But you need to let them know what the next step is first. Okay, we can't just call all of our not yets that are a year out from buying and say, do you want to meet with me for 15 minutes? Because I think we've all learned a few times that the answer is no. I don't need to meet with my not yet for 15 minutes 10 times before they buy a house. I just need them to know the next steps. Okay, so once again, it's calling and creating the next steps. Hey, Sarah, I just got word from Scott, okay, that you submitted all your paperwork. He said that you've come in at $675, okay, for a purchase price. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull, okay, 5 townhomes matching what we've discussed over the last few days. Okay, and what you're going to do is go in to pick out about 2 or 3 of them, and we're going to go see them this weekend. Okay, I just sent them over. Go ahead and pick out 2 or 3, and I'll go ahead and set up the showings for us. Okay, but once again, it's up for you to create a very clear next step on what it is that you need them to be doing. If you're not verbalizing in a very clear, like a third grader can understand it type of way on what their next steps are, I'm not surprised that they're not taking the next steps that you're wanting them to take. Because they just don't know. We deal with this every day. We think about it every day. We talk about it every day. Okay, so we think like, oh my God, it's just so obvious. Okay, what it would be. But if you're not physically ending your phone call, your buyer discovery, whatever it is, going, Sarah, this is what the next steps are. It's you're going to connect with Scott, okay, and finish your approval. I am going to go pull a list of homes matching exactly what you said. You are going to look through those lists of homes and let me know which ones you'd like to see this weekend. And then I will go and execute on those showings for you so we can go and see them. Very clear direction on who is doing what. Okay, and what is expected of them. Okay, so this big number 3, okay, the biggest thing you want to write down like in bold, okay, is just simple next steps or clear next steps. So once again, if you're not providing your buyer even an SOI, you guys, hey, Sarah, now that I was able to sit down and walk you through this buyer discovery and get your opinion on it, I really appreciate it. Now I have some homework that I can work on, to really make sure I'm serving people the highest standard. Next steps from here is, now that you know what I have to offer for my clients, would be if you had anybody that would maybe be a good match, to go through this buyer discovery. But if that's a very clear next step on, hey, Sarah, the next step is you send me people now, refer me people to go through this buyer discovery. So if we don't give them that next step, can we expect them to refer us people? We're just assuming and hoping that because we gave them a buyer discovery, they're now going to refer us people. Okay, so once again, you guys, very clear next steps, no matter where they are in the sales process. They may be 2 years out, okay, from buying a home. Hey, Dan, next steps from here are, I'm going to put you, okay, on a long-term property drip. What that's going to do is keep you updated on what's going on, okay, here in the local Oceanside market. What I'm going to do, okay, is give you a call in about 90 days. Okay, what we're going to discuss then, okay, is if you're still on the right track, if there's anything I can do to support you. And as we get closer to taking whatever the next step is, okay, but it's like creating that, hey, in 90 days, we are going to talk about this because we're going to be this much closer to buying your new home, whatever it is. Okay, but it's up to you guys to really place that strong, clear, simple next steps. Make sense, everyone? Okay. Do we all think that we could give people better next steps? If we go back and think about our closes and the last few clients that we've gone through, do we think we could maybe simplify it down a little bit more into what it is they need, what we're expecting them to do? So once again, we can't expect something of someone if we don't let them know what we're expecting them to do. I mean, that's just setting them up for failure, no? Yeah. Okay. What we're going to do now, okay, last part of that actually is know your roadmap. Okay, if you guys know your buyer roadmap, okay, those are always your next steps. No matter where they are in the process, you're always just explaining to them in your language, that's the next step. Okay, and it makes it really easy. But so know your buyer's roadmap. Okay, section 4 of this, we're going to do a wake-up text. Okay, right now, because I'm sure we all have one, at least can think of one person, okay, at minimum, who is not answering that we would like to be answering. Okay, there's got to be at least one for sure. Okay, so what you're going to do is you guys are going to go to that person. Okay, I'm going to give you a second to pull them up in Lofty. I'm going to put a text, okay, here in the Zoom chat for you. Hey, John, I realize I may have not clearly explained how I help buyers win. That's on me. If you're still thinking of moving, I'd love to walk you through what's working for clients right now. No pressure, just clarity. What's a good day for a 15-minute call? Okay, this is in your guys' Zoom chat. just make sure to swap out the name. Okay, and don't send John unless it is a John. But that's a good text template just in case somebody's maybe just starting to go dark, or you felt like you had a really good call, okay, with them, and maybe they just kind of stopped answering or fizzled out, okay, just a little bit. Two other ways, okay, that you can help wake this person up, okay, for anybody that you guys have. The last thing that I want, okay, for you guys, this is like the death, okay, to a salesperson, is having a stagnant pipeline. Okay, the worst thing that you can have is 15 people that are in your pipeline that you're like, yeah, I'll call them again in 2 weeks and they'll answer it then. Oh, I'll call them in 2 weeks, they'll answer then, and then 6 months goes by. Okay, really quick. So it's very important that you guys are proactive, okay, about these people that are in your pipeline, okay, that have not been answering. So that's going to be one with that text. Okay, that's a good text to do. Two, okay, you have the ISA wake up tag. Remember, that's only for Michael Steele. Okay, so it's either going to be me or Mikey if you use that tag that we will call through typically about 2 or 3 times a week. Okay, to try to wake that person up. It's the ISA wake up tag. And then the other one, okay, is to text them a property, which we just learned on our last training. Okay, so instead of sending them just this auto property alert every month or every week, or just letting it send out like crazy and they open like 1 out of 5 and never respond, like intentionally pick one property, text it to them, and give them a reason on why you're sending them that one property. Maybe it's the deal of the week. Maybe it's just a good match, what they're looking for. Maybe it's because you have availability this weekend to go look at it. Okay, but those are your 3 easy wake up methods instead of just letting them sit there and take up space in your pipeline and do nothing. Okay, so you have this wake up text. You have the ISA wake up tag. Okay, and then you also have your texting a property. Okay, instead of just letting the emails continue to go. Okay, so leaving this, okay, this one here with some rules, okay, on how not to get ghosted. Okay, first one, your first rule is every contact ends with a clear next step. Okay, that's usually the reason why they're not answering the phone. So rule number 1, make sure every single contact ends with clear next step. That would mean inside the open house. That would mean as you call your leads on the phone. Remember, this isn't just on the phone. This is also when you're in person. Number 2, make sure you lead the process, not them. Okay, you're in charge of the sales process. You're in charge of what the next steps are. We don't ask them, okay, what the next steps are. The third rule, okay, I left you guys for 2. So rule number 1 to not get ghosted, okay, was every contact ends with a clear next step. Number 2 is you're leading the sales process, not them. That means you're the one asking the questions. Okay, on the call, if we ever just hop on and say, what questions do you have for me? All we're doing is instantly putting them in control, okay, of the phone call. Sounds like we're being helpful, but we're really not. Okay, and then the third one being always trigger emotion. Okay, at some point in that call, that buyer discovery, that Zoom, whatever it is, okay, you want to make sure that you trigger emotion as well. Okay. Closing out this ghosting section, okay, and then we're just going to go over a little bit of scripting, okay, for the last like 10 to 15 minutes, or if you guys have any questions. Okay, so ghosting is just a symptom, okay, of our leads, okay, of our clients. The symptom is just weak structure. Okay, or the cause. Okay, the cause is just weak structure. So low clarity, no connection. Okay, like I said, we may think it's benefiting our client to be their best friend. Okay, but if I'm not holding them accountable to what it is that they have told me that they want to accomplish by providing them structure and clarity over the steps it takes to make that happen, what am I really doing here? Okay, so it's very important that you take that role that you have very seriously. Someone's trusting you to hold them accountable. They're not trusting you to send them homes every week. Okay, and that's what we decide to do, is just send people a bunch of homes. Okay, they're trusting you to have clear next steps and to show them and lead them to what it looks like to accomplish the goal that they have explained to you. Okay, so just make sure that you take that role very seriously, because if you don't do it, someone else will. And they'll catch them at the right time when they just walk in an open house and go, wow, this house is great. And the person goes, you know what the next steps are from here, Sarah? We write an offer on it. And the only difference is that person was able to very clearly explain this next steps that they should have taken, where we most likely just put them on the property alert. Substantively, okay, guide them, okay, lead them to what it is you want them to do. And you're able to ask really powerful questions. Okay, so you actually feel like you got all the information out, because if you're able to have, once again, a 10 to 15 minute one-time call where you're asking real questions and getting real answers, that's going to feel way better than having 10 conversations of 5 minutes a pop, that just didn't really lead anywhere. Okay, and you're just throwing these people in your pipeline on property alerts. Okay, once again, you're just setting yourself out, to be bummed out. They can go get property alerts anywhere, okay, or do anything. So please, don't let a property alert be your value. Make sure that if they're going into your pipeline, they've been explained very, very simply and clearly what the next steps are. Okay, so whether they're a not yet and you're not meeting them in person yet, or whether they're a nurture, and they want to buy a house in the next 90 days, that your next step is always the same, because your sales process, which is buyer discovery, pick your agent, get approved, view homes, write offers. And that's the only thing that comes out in your language, when you're talking with these people about next steps. Okay.